Hi everybody. Wanted to get you a way long overdue update video. Lots of stuff going on in the news. We've got banks failing. Lance and I are getting questions. Hey, do I need to run to the bank? Do I need to get all my money out of the bank? Is that okay? I'm going to answer that right now. The answer is no. I don't think you need to go to the bank to get your money out. I do believe your money is safe. What we've got on the screen here and what I wanted to show you is from the FDIC website, and it's data that goes back to 2001 that shows that bank failures are pretty common. It does happen. On the bottom here, you'll see that in any given year, we usually get a handful of bank failures. Now, mind you, during the financial crisis, 2008, 2009, a few years following that, we definitely had a higher than normal number of bank failures going on there. Then you look at the last 2 years, 2021, 2022, we actually had 0 bank failures. So here we are in 2023. I think that does need to be updated. It shows 2 bank failures. I think there's 3. What stands out about this year is, and why I think the media is making such a big deal of it, is the big bank, SVB, Silicon Valley Bank. It was a large bank. It was the second largest bank failure in history, second only to the Washington Mutual Bank failure, which was in 2008. And I believe SVB was like the 16th, right around there, 16th largest bank, but now it goes down officially as the second largest bank failure in history. So this is important. It's not uncommon for banks to fail. What I find interesting about the SVB failure, I'm sorry for the abbreviation, it's just easier to say, kind of, is going to bring up some more data here. This chart here lists the 100 largest banks in the US. Now, they're not ranked by their size, but they are ranked by how much of their deposits fall within the FDIC insurance limit, okay? As it stands, if you invest under $250,000 into the bank, your money is insured by the FDIC. If you're at a credit union, it's similar. It's NCUA with similar rules, but for this, we're going to talk about FDIC. And this chart ranks that says, okay, of the banks that are listed here, the 100 largest banks, how many of their deposits are insured and how many of their deposits are not insured, okay? SVB was down here on almost at the bottom, with the least amount of their deposits being insured by FDIC insurance. Keep the numbers simple. About $200 billion in deposits that they had, only 10 to 20 billion of those deposits was actually insured. The remaining 180, 190 billion dollars was not insured because it was in excess of that $250,000 threshold. It's kind of a risky thing to take on. What I like about this chart, and there's some red listed banks in here I've highlighted. Those are common banks, familiar banks, banks that I think a lot of our clients, you guys, use. You'll see the JP Morgan Chases, you'll see the Huntingtons, you'll see the PNCs, you'll see the Fifth Thirds, the Key Banks. All of the common banks that I think a lot of folks are using fall somewhere in the top 50, maybe even better, when it comes to banks that have the majority or the bulk of their deposits insured by the FDIC. Now remember, you can go out and you can have multiple banks, each with $250,000, and those would all be insured. But under the old rules, anything over $250,000 at a bank would not be insured. So with SVB, the Fed, the Treasury has stepped in now, and they said, we're not rescuing the bank, but we are going to back the depositors. So anyone that had money deposited in the bank, certainly over that $250,000 mark, will be made whole, but the bank, SVB, is failed. They are failing, okay? They are done. You're going to hear this other piece out there about SVB being insolvent. And by definition, I suppose you can say they were, but I don't like the way the media is framing this. Insolvency means, hey, they don't have the assets to pay their customers if all their customers came in to withdraw the funds. Truth is, SVB had those assets on the books. They just weren't as liquid or as worth as much as they previously were. So what happened was SVB went out and bought U.S. government treasury bonds, and they probably did this, years going back. And treasury bonds historically are a very safe investment as long as you hold them to maturity, okay? Now, unfortunately, over the last year, we've seen interest rates jump up dramatically, and as interest rates go up, bond prices go down, okay? Now, again, if you hold that bond until it matures, it doesn't matter what the price does. You hold it to maturity, you're going to get your principal back plus some interest. However, if you're forced to sell that bond, or you decide to sell that bond before maturity, you could either sell it for a premium or you could sell it for a loss. In SVB's case, because rates have gone up so much and bond prices have gone down, and there was a run to the door for people to get their money, they were forced to sell before maturity at a number well below what they paid for the bond. So they were taking a forced loss, which created this insolvency issue. And that's why the Fed stepped in and said, hey, you guys are done, but the depositors, you're okay. So wanted to get this out there to you. If you have questions, please call Lance or I. If you have bank accounts, savings, checking accounts with more than $250,000 in it, that might be something you look at, where you might look at maybe picking a different bank. This doesn't apply to investment accounts, such as with us. We're not a bank. We are backed by a different insurance program, the SIPC. So we're talking right now strictly on banks. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you found that informative. Thanks for tuning in, and be on the lookout for more videos in the future.